Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, is with us. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, and I'm watching this amazing schizophrenic gap between an American president doing something historic and the elite news media, as usual, doing anything they can to avoid covering it.
Well, you know what's amazing? I totally agree with you that the Cohen hearing was specifically planned to stop the coverage and step on the president, what could be a huge success. But, Mr. Speaker, you're a historian. You're a professor at heart. And I'm telling everybody, remember this moment. This is a tipping point. You know, we've had a big buildup here, 2 years, Russia collusion, no evidence. Then we have the new Green Deal. No more planes, no more cows, no more, combustion engine, no oil, no gas, and everything's free. And it's $94 trillion, but don't worry about paying for it. And a party of, even abortion during labor. And they wouldn't even stand up for infants born in a botched abortion that need medical help and are living independently. What's happened to this party? Where is this going to end? Because I don't think this ends well for them at all.
Well, I think next year could be one of the great repudiations of our time and could guarantee that Nancy Pelosi is a one-term speaker. I think the number of Democrats who got elected pretending to be moderate, who are now lining up on issue after issue as radicals. I mean, when every single presidential candidate in the Senate voted that they would not protect babies, and as you point out, we're talking now about babies who have been born. Senator Sass's bill is about as clear and definitive as you could be, and every Democratic presidential candidate in the Senate voted for infanticide. To me, that is such an extraordinary change. And by the way, only about 15% of the country agrees with that. So if we end up in an issue-oriented campaign next year, when you have case after case after case like this, I think they could be crushed in a way that we'll look back and be startled at how big the gap was.
I think so, too. But, I mean, where does this end? At the end of the day, when the people of this country get to see, and I'm not trying to, Michael Cohen, why he ever put himself in this position is beyond any understanding I have, except that I think that Democrats are using him and they've manipulated him, and he now has put himself, according to Mark Meadows, in further legal jeopardy, and a criminal referral is now being made as we speak. And I'm like, he's going to jail for lying to Congress, lying on loan applications, and also going to jail for, what's the other thing? Well, cheating on his taxes. I mean, he's their number one witness.
Look at the picture of who is sitting directly behind Michael Cohen. It's Lanny Davis.
Lanny Davis.
And Lanny Davis is one of Hillary Clinton's closest friends. I tweeted a little while ago the idea that one of Hillary Clinton's closest friends helped write a vicious attack on President Trump by a man who has been convicted of lying leaves me a little bit unpersuaded that I should believe in Cohen. And I suspect that Lanny was one of the people who talked him into doing this because he's a very smart lawyer. I don't want to take anything away from Lanny Davis as a lawyer, but he is one of Hillary Clinton's closest friends, and here was a chance to really get the knife out and see if he couldn't do some damage to the president. In the end, this is noise. This will go away. I mean, the big story today is in Hanoi. It's not on Capitol Hill, and it is the President of the United States taking courageous steps to try to end what is a 69-year conflict, and doing so in a way which has the support of the President of South Korea, and may well be making some progress. It's a difficult challenge, but as you were pointing out just before I came on the show, we were averaging, I think, one missile firing every 24 days under Barack Obama, and now it's quiet. And I regard that as a substantial step in the right direction.
As a historian, what does it mean to get the remains of Americans from the 1950s home? The heroes that fought for us.
Look, it does two things for us. One is for those families, and my dad fought in the Korean War, so I'm very sympathetic to the families that did not have their loved ones. It's just enormously important emotionally for them to have their loved ones come home. For the country, it's a reminder that if you risk your lives and you serve America, we never forget you. That we will always be trying to help, always trying to find a way to reunite you with your family. And I think that's a very important part of being American. It's the exact opposite of what we were just talking about with the Democrats who are willing to kill babies after they're born.
What is when you see and you juxtapose the two images today, that they bring in a guy that's going to jail just to slander the president for no seeming purpose except to embarrass him while the president's on foreign soil. Imagine if this happened under Obama. And the president's negotiating the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what it says to me. The Democrats are willing to tear down America if that's what they have to do to get ahead. And I think that backfires. I think the average American is more of a patriot than that. And the average American looks at this and just says, this is really pretty despicable. And I think that it actually hurts them in the end because people get it. People aren't stupid. You're going to bring in a convicted liar in order to have him, and by the way, a guy who for 11 years took money from Donald Trump. I mean, I was trying to get today and I couldn't get it, but I was trying to figure out how much money did he make from Trump over the years? Because all of a sudden, he's saying all these mean, nasty things. Boy, that sure wasn't how he talked for 11 years.
Well, I mean, there's a dramatic change of pace. Do you think there's fallout from this new Green Deal? And how do you think the American people react to no more planes, no more cars, no gas, no oil, no cows, and everything's free, and maybe you shouldn't have children, and, reparations, and Kamala Harris wants prostitution legal today?
That's a whole lot of different things. Look,
and late-term abortion.
Well, of course, not just late-term abortion, but infanticide.
Infanticide, correct.
So let's just go down the list. I'm actually working on a thing on reparations because I think, Kamala Harris is from Jamaica. Would she be eligible for reparations or not? I mean, who's eligible? Who's not eligible? This whole thing is insane, and I think it's good for us to take it seriously and say, let's start with Elizabeth Warren. Who does she think should get reparations, and how would you decide it, and what would the standard be? And it rapidly disintegrates into just being stupid. I mean, this is truly becoming a stupid party because the ideas are crazy. Let's take the provision in the so-called green proposal that they're going to retrofit every building in America. I mean, I'm confident that AOC does not have a clue how many buildings that is, nor does she have a clue what it costs just to retrofit one building. And so what you end up with idea after idea, which would be okay if it was a freshman bull session at the dorm, but it's crazy when it's somebody who's in elected office proposing it for the country.
Mm-hmm. I got a break, and I know that I guess we had trouble connecting with you. So sorry, we are in Hanoi, as you know, and
sure.
Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. I think Americans, this is going to be a defining moment as you juxtapose the president looking for a more peaceful world impacting generations and our kids and grandkids versus, let's now interview a guy going to prison because he's going to say something bad about the president simultaneously. Mr. Speaker, thank you for being with us.